Dangerous situation. Thank you, as always. Be safe out there. We want to bring in Brett Bruin, the Global Situation Room president, and Derrick Anderson, former Army Special Forces Green Beret who trained with the IDF. DA, let me begin with you. You're sitting right here. I want to share what the president has been saying about what Israel is doing on the ground. And he's trying to say that they're not going in foolishly. They're trying to be strategic. Listen to what he has to say, and I want to get your reaction on the other side.
It's not like they're rushing in the hospital, knocking down doors and, pulling people aside and shooting people indiscriminately. But Hamas, as I said they plan on attacking Israelis again. And this is a terrible dilemma. I made it clear to the Israelis that, to Bibi and to his war cabinet, that I think the only ultimate answer here is a two-state solution.
It's difficult. People say two-state solution. It's difficult to talk about that given what happened, especially if you're Israeli. You're saying we were attacked. I don't want to hear about a two-state solution right now. I want answers to what happened, and I want to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Kevin. And if you look at what's going on with the Biden administration, how they're responding to things, it's a day late and a dollar short, right? If you look at what's happened in these hospitals over the last several weeks, right? Al-Quds, Rantisi, Al-Shifa. Over the course of those three hospitals, as the IDF have gone through them, we've seen in Al-Quds specifically ISR footage, drone footage over top of it where it shows Hamas shooting from windows with RPGs, small arms fire, hiding behind civilians as they come out the door and then go into another building and start shooting again. Again, you go into Al-Shifa, we just saw pictures of it. And Rantisi, and you're seeing that they have go bags, weapons, RPGs, suicide vests, and just recently we've seen even the bodies of some of the hostages.
Right.
All this is being said is that the Biden administration, anytime they've been asked by the media, by the public, or anyone, they say, we don't have the intelligence for it, we don't know what's going on. Only until the IDF go in with live video stream and show it firsthand, and then a few hours later, sure as heck, Biden administration comes out and says, guess what? We did have intelligence on that, and we're seeing it every single day.
Yeah, I want to build on that. Brett, as I welcome you into the conversation, it's interesting when you see these images, and we're seeing tunnels below hospitals. We're seeing weapons caches at hospitals, and sometimes in religious circumstances. It sort of seems to bolster the argument that they are willing, talking about Hamas, to do whatever it takes to target civilians and use civilians as shields as they continue to prosecute this war. Am I off base on that?
No, without question, Kevin. And this is something that is not a new discovery. We've long known that Hamas both builds bunkers beneath hospitals, other schools, and civilian targets, precisely with the goal of trying to create that international outrage. And this is where I think it's really important that U.S. leaders particularly are somewhat careful in how they navigate this minefield, because ultimately Hamas is exploiting some of the statements, some of the condemnation. And I think, quite frankly, it comes down to what the Hamas leader said in an interview just a couple weeks ago, that they have done nothing to protect civilians in the Gaza Strip. Instead, they've dug really deep tunnels for their fighters so that they could continue to prosecute attacks against the Israeli people.
It is a challenge when I ask this question because I want to be fair. And what I mean by that is there are real consequences for the civilians, Brett. We're talking about desperation. You heard Jeff Paul mention that in his report. What, if anything, can be done for the people in the short time that we have left? React to that.
Well, I think first and foremost, Israel needs to continue to take every step reasonably possible to target well, to protect civilians, to show restraint. And as you saw today, with additional fuel and medical supplies authorized into Gaza, that Israel is taking considerable steps to ensure that civilians are both protected and cared for. I think it's important that in the coming days we see more of those steps taking place.
DA, in about 15 seconds, as you speak, I want to share this graphic. It talked about something that Jeff Paul mentioned, 61 attacks on military forces just since October 17th. Building on what we've been talking about, again, in the short time we have left, what, if anything, can be done about that?
Well, if you look back, Kevin, in December of 2022, Secretary Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, said deterrence goes through strength, right? We have 61 attacks since October 17th. That's almost 2 to 3 per day. We're not doing that right now. And I hate to say this, and I wish it not in the world of anybody, but the first service member that gets injured seriously and or gets killed, the blood is going to be on the hands of the Biden administration.
Got to be tougher with that. Gentlemen, thank you as always. We appreciate that. Meantime, breaking tonight, a victory for former President